be getting on to northbound 99. You're a fucking moron if you do. You are. Yeah. You want to be a douchebag? Fuck you. Be a douchebag and I'll let me back over. I'm feeling back. I'll be a dick and not let me back over earlier. I'm not going to be one nice to you here either. Have to go around me just over to get around one truck to get off the freeway here. What's up, you guys? Alright, so I was planning on starting this video right here. I'm on Highway 58 westbound, getting on to 99 north. And I had douchebag driver up there decide he needs to be taught a lesson in some manners. So I figured might as well, let's just start with him. I moved over to accommodate him getting on the freeway. And he gets up to speed while I'm still mostly ahead of him, but not past him. And decides to not get back enough, stay back enough on his throttle so I can get back over. And then I do finally get over. And I'm catching up on that oversize. And I'm within a mile or so of my exit. I know that I want exit 110, Highway 99, and we're at exit 111. That's my cue. Stay in the right lane, don't move. Well, this guy seems to think that he's going to go by me. That he was going to go by me and then cut back in between me and the oversize there. I was like, that's not happening. You want to be an asshole, I'll play asshole games back. And now he's catching up. Not like I care. Alright, so we're on our way to make our delivery at Walmart in Shacker, which is just a few miles up. Alright, we're going to be getting off at exit 31, which is 7th Standard Road. Watch this guy, he's going to probably, he wants to get up next to me and start flipping me off and all that. Oh man, I don't know, why is my side guard thing still going off? He actually didn't look at me at all. Wow, surprise. I figured he was gonna talk shit and flip me off and whatever else because I didn't want to let him back over. It's like, dude, you're being a dickhead. I'm not letting you over. If you want to drive like an asshole, I'll be an asshole too. So you can play the asshole game there. If you, I'll teach you what it's like when someone treats you like that. And don't be an asshole to me, and I won't be one to you. Alright, so I've got plenty of things I can talk about, I guess, but so one of the topics, I guess, that come up in our Facebook group, it's always a good talking point. It kind of helps give me content to discuss, whether it's my take on something or, maybe I give some insight or, my perspective on something that, other people might not know. So, alright, so there was a discussion about scaling. Actually, scaling and swapping, or actually, someone had a question on weight and length. Where were they at? I can't remember where they picked up at, but they were not in California. And the load part of the call was not. I think it was going to Florida. They might have been picking up in Edwardsville, Kansas, or Olathe, or I don't know. But whatever the case was, it was going to Florida. They were concerned about what Florida's weight and length limits are. Now, everybody knows about California's limit, or most everybody. Seems like people don't still know that because it's pretty common in California. I'll see trucks out here with their tandems clearly behind the 40-foot limit. Sometimes all the way back, sometimes where I can tell they're at least a good 43 feet. Now when they're all the way back, it's around 47 or so feet. And what I'm measuring is the kingpin of the rear, the center of the rear trailer axle. Now, most of in the western U.S., California is pretty much the only state. Yeah, it's the only state in the western U.S. that has any kind of length limit at all. All of the other states, some of them used to have length limits and they don't anymore. Like Utah and Idaho, they don't have any length limits. So if you need your tandems all the way back, you can drive with them all the way back there. Florida and actually a lot of the East Coast states actually have length limits. Generally speaking, their limits are 41 feet, and that is not the same measurement as California's. California, they go by what you call KPRA, which is kingpin to rear axle. Now, most of the East Coast states, they go by what you call kingpin to center of the axle group. Or in other words, the center point, the midpoint between the front and the rear axle on the rearmost group. So if you have tandems back there, it's the midpoint between your front and rear axle. And on regular tandems, I've measured them out myself before, when I was still driving for Sierra England, and it was about 46 inches. That is just shy of 4 feet. I would put your midpoint 2 feet in front of the rear trailer axle. So that means that if you're going to a state where the dimension limit is by kingpin to center of axle group, that's where you measure by, not the rear trailer axle. Florida isn't the only state in the East Coast that does that, but they're the only ones that people usually talk about at all. There are a number of other states in the East that do the same thing. And there are a couple of oddball ones, like Michigan. They actually have both a lower and an upper limit. Like, so you can't be any closer than 30. I think their range is 37 to 41 feet. I don't recall if it's kingpin to center of the axle group or if it was some other measurement. I have to double check. But yeah, they have an oddball one, and I think West Virginia or Virginia, one of the two. Well, I think it's West Virginia, but I could be wrong. One of those two has their limit done from, which one is it? I think rear tractor axle to the rear trailer axle. And then another state, I can't remember if it's Maine or another one, does it from the front tractor axle to the rear trailer axle. So it really does help to know what the limits are. There's a difference also between what is enforceable and what actually gets enforced. So DOT actually can enforce and write tickets and violations for exceeding their state's limits. Just because you get away with it most of the time, if you even are over the limit, doesn't mean that you're always going to get away with it. Yeah, because you could have a different DOT officer, maybe one who's newer and more concerned about that kind of thing, or maybe especially if they're having like a rash of mishaps where trucks making right turns and it turns out their tandems are too far back. They can start hammering down on it then, like, just, hey, we're getting a rash of these. And there's a commonality where all the drivers are driving with their tandems illegally too far back. Their supervision, their captains or whatever, and they can start telling them, start hammering people on this particular issue. It just becomes a hotbed issue. So it's to your benefit to know what the actual limit is. And then use your own, if you do have a case where you can't scale legal without going over weight and or length limits, then it's, you have to use your discretion whether to go back, get the load reworked, or if you want to try to play the dodge the scale game, or go past the scale hoping it's closed at a certain hour, or who knows what else the reason you think might be. Best practice, of course, is to get the load reworked, though, if you're going to be doing that at all. If you have an issue with weight and or length limit. But most of them know that 41 feet from the kingpin to the center of the axle group would put you at 43 feet kingpin to rear axle. Now, how many holes back from the California hole that is really depends on what kind of trailer you're pulling. Because the tandem slide rail, it has actually varying hole patterns. Now, if you're driving for JCT, I'll give you the comfort knowing that I've never seen a JCT trailer that did not have a 6-inch hole pattern. But when I drove for Cedar, England, it was a hodgepodge. Sometimes they were 4-inch pattern, sometimes they were 6-inch pattern, and your numbers are going to be different based on which hole pattern you're working with. How many pounds you're moving per hole also changes. So if you're only doing 4 pounds per hole, 4 inches per hole, then every hole takes 250 pounds of weight off of the heavy axle and moves it toward the other axle. So the difference moves by 500 pounds every hole, or with 6-inch hole pattern like JCT trucks or trailers, I mean. They go by 375 pounds per hole. A lot of people round it up to 400 because it's close enough. So it'll get you in the same ballpark at least, so that'll work. Now, I go by 375, and I derived that from the 250 that I talked about. The common dimension that 4 and 6-inch hole patterns can both move by is 12 inches. And that's 1 foot. So, a 4-inch hole pattern, it takes 3 holes of movement to get to that 12 inches or 1 foot. On a 6-inch hole pattern, it only takes 2 holes. So this is where it really pays to know what the dimensions are, and when you have to slide your tandems to get a load work right, it helps really a lot to know which pattern you're working with, which numbers are the correct ones to work with that type of pattern, because the age-old wisdom is 250 pounds per hole, but that's only accurate if you're working with 4-inch hole pattern. If you do that with the 6-inch hole pattern, you're going to find yourself, especially if you have to move like, say, 6 holes or 2 feet, you're going to end up finding yourself actually moving 3 feet instead of 2 feet if you're working with a 6-inch hole pattern. And then you're going to find out shit, I overshot. Now I have to get back on I have to figure out, recalculate how many holes to move again in the opposite direction because I overshot because I'm using the wrong numbers. So that's where it helps, guys. Also the length limits, like I say, most of the East Coast states have a 41-foot KPCG limit, which is actually 43 feet KPRA. A 4-inch hole pattern, that's going to be 3 feet back or 9 holes back from the California hole if you have a 4-inch hole pattern trailer. If it's a 6-inch hole pattern trailer, that's going to put you 4 holes back, or 6 holes back. It's 2 holes for every foot. Also, weight limits. Carriers always like to give drivers bad information, or they give them what works and what's 50 state legal information, but it's not accurate. Not necessarily accurate, especially for the steer axle. The age-old wisdom that trucking companies give to their drivers, sometimes even trainers, is no more than 34,000 on the tandems, no more than 34 on the drives, and no more than 12,000 on the steer axle. The steer axle is completely wrong. There are no states that have a hardcore 12,000 pound steer axle limit. The 12,000 that you get on that is just what's left over if your drives and tandems are already at 34,000 each to keep you underneath the 80,000 pound gross limit. When we get locked in over here, I'll do a show and tell to help you figure out what is your specific truck's actual axle limit on the steer axle. You got two different things there. You got to go by what's on the door jamb and also what the tires are rated at as well. And whatever the lesser of the two is what your actual steer axle limit is. Also, when you're some states actually have higher than 34,000 pound weight limits on the dual axles. Like Florida, for example. I'm going to go ahead and I can either turn on this street here or the next one. Doesn't matter which one. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. This used to not go through, but it does now, from my understanding, from what I've seen. So I'm going to go ahead and go this way. I usually go to the next street and take it down to the four-way stop. Alright, anyway, though, so you're in Florida. You think that the limit's 34,000? Nope, guess again. You got tandem axles, your limit is 44,000. Yeah, that's not a typo, and that's not a misstate there. 44,000 pounds is your axle limit on dual axles in Florida. There are other states that have 36, 37, 38, whatever kind of 1,000 pound limits. Best way to know whether you have an overweight axle, if it's legal or not. Simple way is to just get a motor vehicle carrier atlas and look at what it actually says on there. Now I got an old atlas. It's page Alpha 16, appendix section up in the front section of the atlas. There's a chart right there, table I mean, that'll tell you what each state is, what their weight limits are for each axle type, and to an extent they also tell you what their length limits are as well. I don't listen to just what their length limits say on there though, because I know from past experience some of the states actually have limits that are not even published in those atlases. And some of them can be misleading, like maybe you're a Sierra England driver or something, or you're driving for another carrier that has those decals on the side of your trailer that says this hole, whatever, don't go past this hole for this state, whatever. And like one of them will say Indiana, 40 feet. No, that does not apply to semi-trailers. That only applies to straight truck. But read the law on that. Read it up yourself. Alabama. I don't know if they have it on a decal there, but that's another one where it's kind of funny there. They actually do have a length limit of 41 feet, kingpin to center of axle group, or 43 feet to the rear axle. However, that only applies if you have a trailer that's more than, is at least 53.5 feet long. If you have a regular 53 foot long trailer, that doesn't apply. Now you can run with your tandems all the way back in Alabama with the 53 foot trailer, but with a 53 foot 6 inch trailer or longer, we'll just say a 57 or 60 foot trailer. Nope, you gotta be within that 43 foot limit. Alright, we're gonna come up here to the end of the road and make a right. So a lot of good information there. I'll give you a little cheat sheet here on my on the screen there that you can use to kind of help get a ballpark, like which states might have what limits that you could work with. And when we get docked in over here, I'll go ahead and do a quick little show and tell on how to tell what your steer axle limit actually is. So all of the states are generally 20,000 pounds for a single axle, or I mean it's the lesser of either 20,000 pounds or the equipment rating. And I will show you right here when we get in the dock door how to find out what your equipment rating is. Now my truck's here, I guess we'll talk about that when I can actually show you it. We're going to make a right turn right up here. Go up the street, and then it'll be a left turn into Walmart's truck entrance. I've been here several times before. You guys may have seen some of my videos delivering here in the past. But I remember there being a stop sign here at this intersection. I think maybe they took it out or whatever. I thought it was a three-way stop or something, but yeah, it looks like they took the stop sign out on the side I just came out of. So see, if you turn there where the Target is at, it's actually more simple there. You just follow the road curves around on its own. You hit that four-way stop, keep going straight ahead, and when you get to the end of the road, turn right. Get up past this traffic light right here. Go straight through it. Now that warehouse right there you see right in front of us on the left side is our receiver. I was having a look underneath that box thing, that radar box thing, whatever that's on the top of my windshield. It's very obnoxious. I really would prefer to not have that thing there. It serves no useful purpose to me for the most part. It creates more problems than it does than it does anything good for. Alright, as you see here, you got a truck parked right here. So if you are coming here, it is pretty common to see trucks parked here overnight. This guy, just like what this guy is doing, you can do a 10-hour break over here. Probably shouldn't have any problems with being bothered there. I contemplated doing the same myself. I could have ran harder on my way into here from where I picked the load up in Tyler, Texas. Could have ran harder on the shift that I ran in. Actually, both of the previous two shifts, but running on recaps and I picked different. I checked up my choice on the first two shifts. Yeah, because of preferred places to stop. Yeah, not by distance. They're gonna come right up to my truck here. So. Hello. Alright guys, we got that door 211 as assignment. That's going to be right on the other side of the receiving office. I don't see anybody trying to dock in over here, so I'd go ahead and make this first left after I get over here. I see another JCT, actually two JCTs in the dock door dock doors over here. They're in the 400 wing. The 200, we're going to go past the receiving office. And then you'll see the 200 wing on the other side of the receiving office. So we're going in 211. I think that's further down. What do we got here? 4292, L4292, and then L4098. Oh, that's a bright light reflecting off this asphalt here, or concrete, whatever. Okay, like a typical Walmart, there's plenty of room to work with here. Not enough for a straight back, but plenty to work with to set up. There should be plenty of room between the dock doors as well. And usual fashion, you're going to disconnect from your trailer after you're docked in. And pull up, until your fifth wheel is out from underneath the trailer. 211, yeah, it's further down, just like I was saying. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let this guy come out first. So there's another JCT right here, 42, a Delta 4200. I'm going to get my doors open now. Alright, it's one of those good cases where it's good to have a suitable cable cutter on you, because I have a cable seal. Either an actual cable cutter, or I use a bolt cutter. Alright, looks like it might be next to this white Freightliner. Yeah, right next to the white Freightliner. We'll start cutting across. We'll point at these Walmart trailers here. I actually overshot a little bit, yeah. There's plenty of room here. Perfectly right in between the two lines. That's what we're looking for here. These are very well painted lines here. This is a newer DC anyway. They only opened up, was it a year or two ago? It was like October of last year or the year before. I can't remember when. But yeah, I've been there several times. Yeah, we're getting, now come on. Ricochet. I thought I was ricocheting, but I wasn't. Now I'm ricocheting. I made myself ricochet. I hit the door so gently, I thought I wasn't on it yet. Gonna start pushing back, and I feel like I'm already on it, but by the time I let off my throttle, it's yeah, it had ricocheted on me. Alright guys, let's go over the steer axle stuff I was talking about earlier now though. Okay, so we're going to start by coming here to the my truck. It's right here on the back end of the door jamb, right here. See, front axle. You're gonna have to read it sideways then, because that might try to auto rotate. But you see here, my axle limit is 12.5, and then my well, my second intermediate axle, basically it's 20,000. So, but front axle, yeah, is well, actually, for yeah, and then my cold rating is 120 psi and 110 on the drives is what they recommend. It's the max, whatever recommended, whichever, I don't know. But yeah, that's the gross weight, the limit on my my steer axle. Now the tires are another can of worms. Now, you look right here, max load single, 7,160 pounds. So the other tires should be the same. That's over 14,000 pounds. So my tires themselves can handle 14,000 pounds. But the axle itself is only rated for 12.5. Alright guys, we are done unloading here. It's 14:20 local time, 2:20 p.m. for those of you guys who are military time challenged. Already hooked up to my trailer, as you can see here. I also already verified that I got my load lock back. Is this guy gonna wait for me? I don't know. I can't tell if he's pulling, if he's waiting for me or if he's just pulling forward so he can check his load, make sure he got his load lock back like I just did. And yeah, he's still staying there. Okay, so anyway, yeah, it's a pretty nice day out here. Actually 90 degrees right now on my thing, so warmed up quite a bit since I got here. It was about 60 when I got to the guard shack earlier, and now we got 90 and clear skies. Definitely a pretty nice day out here. Alright, let me get checked out there. A little bit of a story I can tell about while I was docked in. And I still got to tell you about what is coming up next. Where am I going after I'm done here? So when we get through checking out here at the guard shack, we will talk about all that. Alright guys, there's a truck coming up. We're still going to send my empty call. I'm going to pull up here though and get out of the way so he can do his thing. While I get that empty call sent. Now let's get out of here. I just realized I also forgot to accept my pre-plan that they had sent me while I was on my way over here. So I guess we'll talk about that first, and then we'll talk about what transpired while I was in the doctor. Alright, so where I'm going to next is I'll be reloading in Colton again at the Walmart DC. That load's going to be going to Harrisonville, Missouri. Was not really what I was expecting to happen. I thought I'd end up getting a Leprino Foods load or something because it's my HOS situation. I'm going to go ahead and give you, show you screenshots of what my hours look like right now. I just pulled out of that dock door with about 13 and a half or so hours, or 13 hours or whatever it is left on my 70-hour clock. And recaps are not looking so hot either. I only got like an hour and a half coming back tonight. So between tonight and tomorrow, I don't have a lot. And then I got 10 plus coming back. That's a good recap. But then I got two more not so great recaps after that. So I knew I was going to have to either sit and wait for a reload that had a better speed, or reload right away, but something that, oh that's right, I'm so used to this being flashing red that I almost treated it like a stop sign until I see the bobtail going through the light and like, wait a minute. Because yeah, I think every time I've been through here before it was always flashing red. So kind of helps when you're paying attention. Alright, so yeah, I was either pick up soon but a slow speed load like a Leprino, or pick up later with something that I can run a little more quickly with. Maybe not super fast, but definitely quickly with, or efficiently. Yeah, that's a better way to say it. Alright, so most everyone, when they go there from here, I think they would be apt to go down I-5, go across the Grapevine, and I don't know, end up, then go across the 210, and usually a lot of the guys like to stay in Ontario at the Petro or TA. I don't personally like to stay there myself. Like, why are you turning from the outer lane? There's a right turn lane right there you could be using. Like, what's this guy doing? He can't go straight. And because the lane he was in, and I didn't see his turn signal until the second time I looked, I thought, you know, I knew he was probably going to Walmart, but I don't want to make assumptions. Anyway, yeah, I don't personally like to stay there. Actually, if it wasn't for the fact my wife and kids are all dealing with COVID right now, I would be on my way home and just spend the night at my house, and then, because it doesn't pick up till tomorrow night. I wasn't, no, like I said, I would have preferred to be going to the house and then go down and pick up the load tomorrow. But obviously, with that going on at the house, I can't go anywhere near the house. So I'm going to have to make plans on staying somewhere else. I've got several options. I might go back to Hatchby and get just hang out there. That's where I started this shift at. Or I could go down to the new pilot in Palmdale. Or I can even keep going past Palmdale and stay in, what's that, Pear Blossom or Little Rock, whichever. I want to say it's Pear Blossom. I always get it mixed up, though. There's a Chevron over there that I can park at. Or I can go all the way down to Colton, you know, even. And, but I don't know what I want to do with the traffic at this time of day, so I I don't know. I'm kind of eyeballing maybe going to Palmdale, but I'm not too keen on what the food options are there. So, and with my recap situation, I'm not sure it really matters too much more than just maybe running enough today to set up and perhaps set up a better reload option next week when I get back to using these recaps. You know, the recapping the hours that I'm using today. Next week, basically what I'm talking about. Alright, so before I go, I'll talk about what also happened while I was in there. Sitting in my sleeper area, and the yard jockey comes up, gets my attention. I roll down my window and like, yeah, you're all done. Like, already? I haven't even been here that long, and they never called me or anything like that. So like, how can I be done right now? So I was like, yeah, well, they told me you're all done. Your paperwork's ready. So I go ahead and go in there and talk to them. So I go in there and tell the girl I'm in 211, and she says, such and such, whatever. I'm like, you sure this is my load? Because I just got here like half an hour ago, and my door light was still red when the guy came up to me. So I'm like, there's something not right here. I know it. And sure enough, so she goes, yeah, we tried calling you a few times and couldn't get a hold of you, so we had the yard jockey come up to you, and like, never called me up because I never received any phone calls, and I even pulled up my call log and showed her, look, you see, I never received any calls from you guys. And then she goes, was your phone number 559 whatever something? I'm like, no, that's not me. She goes, okay, what's your truck number or my trailer number first? So 6652. So she looks in the list, and sure enough, I am supposed to be in 211, but it's definitely not the same truck she was looking for. She said supposedly the other driver who was in 211, presumably before me, was still on the lot somewhere. I don't know if he was waiting on his bills or I don't know where he was at, but he sure as hell wasn't in my dock door, and he couldn't have just came in through the guard shack on the way in or something, because otherwise he wouldn't have had his bills ready. So I'm guessing he was parked somewhere else where I don't know. But yeah, it was kind of odd though. Yeah, just weird experience. On a more positive note, the people in there were very friendly, especially there was a Hispanic male, lighter skinned Hispanic male guy there who I checked in with. Yeah, he was really cool and friendly. He's cool. He was great to deal with. The girl was fine too. It just I could tell the guy was a lot more, especially friendly, professional. I don't know. He just kind of stood out more. I didn't have any complaints about any of them, but yeah, I'd say I think he's a bright, shining light on their receiving office. So good attitude. So I'm gonna give him some props on that. Alright, so I was only there for 2 hours and 15 minutes past my appointment time, so I might just get just a pinch of detention pay out of that, because our detention pay kicks in at 2 hours, $40 an hour, so probably only going to get me about $10 or so of detention pay out of that. Better than nothing. So we'll see how it goes. Alright, so now I don't like to go over the Grapevine personally to get over to Colton. I'd rather go through Lancaster and Palmdale. So I'll be taking Highway 58 across to Mojave, and then Highway 14 down from Mojave to Lancaster and Palmdale, and then Pear Blossom Highway across. And then I can either stop at the Pilot, the brand new Pilot over there. It's not a very big one, but I can consider stopping there. Or I might actually stop. Yeah, I'm gonna probably stop there anyway to get reefer fuel. And if I don't stop there, like I said, I can always stop in Pear Blossom at the Chevron over there, or make my way all the way down to Colton and park street side or something. I don't want to get there too late in the afternoon and have issues. There's kind of, there are places, there are hidey holes I can park in without using the truck stops and stuff. I just prefer to go ahead and stay at a truck stop for services. If I want to use a restroom or get a drink or whatever, it's more convenient. A nice 4-seat Can-Am handrail there. I can have some fun with that. Alright, anyway, I don't want to drag this video on too long for you guys, so I'll go ahead and end this now, and we'll have a new video going for you when it's time to pick up our load tomorrow night in Colton, alright? Alright, until then, I will see you guys there. Alright, have a great day.